Good afternoon from everybody. And for those who are on my earlier training, I see Roger and Ash Cook and Tom there. I think I may have solved the problem with the giant checklist.
Oh, yay.
So I will send that on to you. I think I've overcome, I've basically taken everything and put it all into the nurturing stage because I think that's the only way I can make it work. But for those who don't know me, I'm Trisha Barlow. I'm going to give my little spiel about my background, 30 years in the tech industry, from everything from software engineer to project manager to program manager and customer success. I've been very lucky to travel and work in Africa, South America, and Europe as an IT consultant, and I am ex-Compass. So about a year ago, Chirag approached me and asked me if I'd get involved with the new program he wanted to launch called End to End, which is the first of its kind to basically step by step everything an agent would need, from emails to scripts, from one part of the transaction to the next, from start to close. So we built that out and we added on the buying side. And here I am hosting both Revenue Roadmap and End to End on these calls. So we will be looking at the collection tool. This is not this, we present these tool trainings from our perspective, from CSC, from the best practices perspective, not from I'm your agent experience person, I'm going to teach you, click here, click there. That's not really the aim. If you do need additional support, we do have tool trainings you can pop into. We have step-by-step guides and we have videos that you can have a short tutorial on them if you wish. But today we're looking at collections for buyers. Now I'm going to share in the content all the CSC content from our platform on this. If you're here on this call and you're in end to end, you won't be able to access them. So I do apologize, but the end to end selling is selling. And so consider this a bonus training session without the links. So when we're looking at collections, the number one thing you have to really bear in mind is that your typical buyer is very different today than it was a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. They're so tech savvy. They have access to a lot of the same information you do. And so this is really where your value proposition comes in. This is really where you need to show how you shine. So when we create a collection, we need to curate it. So in CSC, we never create a collection and make everything automatically go to a client, because you're not giving them any value. You're not giving them anything that they can't get on realtor.com or Zillow, unless of course it's a private exclusive or coming soon that's only on Compass. But that's the only thing. So you really need to curate what you're sending to them. You have had the conversations, you have their notes in your system. So use that. What are they looking for? A house near a train station, a house near a coffee shop, whatever it is, put these into the comments. I'm going to step you through one of these. I'm going to use my good friend Brad Pitt, and we're going to have a look in a house for Brad in Houston, which I'm sure he would just die to live in. And he can only spend 350 as his budget. That's it. Not 350 million, just 350,000 is all we're allowing Brad Pitt to spend today. So we're going to step through that and have a look at it. For if your client is very interested in the market and is very price focused, add some sold properties into your collection. Let them see what things have sold in the last month in the area they're looking. So you're managing their expectations, right? So add in a sold property. There's no harm in doing that. Let them know you're doing it. Hey, I know this is sold. I just want you to be aware this is what, and you can put it in the comments as well. We'll talk about the group discussions and how it can be used for conversations and aligning on things. One thing we do recommend before you do anything for any of your clients, and if you're new to Compass, I highly recommend you do this. Either use your personal email or create a dummy email and set up a collection, a test collection for yourself. Invite yourself to it. Have a look. Go into your email. Have a look at what the button looks like. What's the process? Because you're going to have to sign up to Compass app as a buyer. You're going to have to sign up and all that, because once you invite a client to it, they're going to have problems, right? And they're going to ask you the answers. And if you don't know the answers, you're going to go to your agent support, and it's the weekend, and you're not getting an answer very fast. And even then, that's taking up time. That's not the service you want to provide. So you want to know what they're going through. So set it up, test it out, see what it feels like, and you'll be able to answer their questions. And it's not difficult. Just do it once and you know what you're talking about. So we're going to get started, and you can see, I'll go through some of the content I just shared, just to give you a high level on what I've shared with you all. You all have the ability to unmute, and you also can use the chat if you wish to ask questions. I am more than happy to repeat, to go back, to get diverted, whatever you need, I'm here for you. Jump in, ask me the questions, no problem at all. So what we have here is, these are the tool guides I was saying. If you are new to Compass, highly recommend you click into some of these and see how the tools work. There's short tutorials in them. Actually, in these ones, I don't think there's, but there's step-by-step guides in them. All this is the content we have relating to collections on Revenue Roadmap. We're also through in a couple of videos from Chirag talking through curating collections and using the discussions, which I'm going to do with you today. But if you want to hear it from the king himself, you can watch those videos. We also included this script here, and I'll discuss that when we're coming on to the group discussion. I'll switch back over that and have a look at it. So very quickly, let me just check there's a question there. I would like to know how to update public collections, as it seems to me that they are static and not automatically updated like private collections. 100% correct, May. That's right, they don't. But public collections are never tied to a saved search. Never. They are standalone. It's up to you to add things and remove them. Nothing happens. They stand alone. But the beauty of public collections, and give me a shout out in the chat here, who uses public collections? Just a quick yes, who uses them and who doesn't? I am a personal lover of public collections. I love using them to showcase your recent sales, showcase other people's listings. If you don't have any listings and you're in an area and say, hey, interested in, 4 bedrooms under 1 million by the sea, have a look at this, put it on your website, get your agent experience person to put the link on your agent page. Public collections are fantastic. Is public for each client or anyone? Sorry, completely new here to Compass. So a public collection is a collection you can create down here. I'm just going to go down here into the workspace. Here's a public collection. You literally can create a public collection, and this is totally deviating, but that's what I love about these things, right? We get on a track. So say I'm looking at beach properties or townhouses under 1 million in Houston. Okay, and check out these great homes. You'll notice I can't type, guys. Under 1 million in the Houston. Whoops. Now, I have no idea if there's any, but here we go. So I'm going to create this collection. Now I need to add properties to it, okay? So it'll take you straight. You can either go to search or you can go here. So it has no listings. So here we go. And what I would do in this case, I would look for active listings. You can try coming soon. Depends on your market as to whether or not they're going to show. I've said that they are townhomes. So let's see, townhouses. And the maximum price is 1 million. Putting that in there. Why isn't my M working? It did. And I said I'm looking at Houston. So if I search here, You can see I have 553, so I probably want to reduce it a bit more than that. Maybe put in 4 bedrooms, and there's only 31, so that's a bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at these. Now, you put on your images, so you decide what you want to go in. Here we go. These are really nice. I am a very visual person, so I have to look at them and see what's pretty. Now, if I want to add those, all I have to do is add to collection. And then I have to choose my public collection, add to one collection. Now, if I hop back over to my public collection, right? I'm just going to go back into my workspace right now, and I have my public collection. And there it is. It's beautiful. I can now share that. If I can share this link on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, or I can just copy the URL and I can send that out in a newsletter. I can put it on my website. I can do whatever I want. Share it any way you want. And they're not my listings. Now they can be. You can say my recent sales. You can have a public collection. A public collection can be used to showcase anything that you want to showcase. Now, to remove them, you have to trash them. You have to give it the thumbs down. And that's how you get rid of them in a public collection. But public collections were never designed to auto populate. That's not the way they are. They don't have saved search like other collections. They're always standalone and they have to be nurtured. You need to be on top of them. But it doesn't take too much, you know. Just go in and update them, once a week even. See what's new, see what's not. You can have a saved search here. So you could have gone in and saved that search for your townhouses and run it every week and just, or get the notifications of the week and add them to your public collection and remove it. The beauty of the public collection is that when you have copied and shared that URL link, it stays. So it doesn't matter what you're taking in and what you're putting out. The link is the same. So you don't have to update your websites. You don't have to go to your agent page and ask someone to update it. It's static. Whatever you put in is being updated, and you can share it as often as you want. So do you need to create the public collection name first, then add property to it? Where's Brad Pitt Place? I know we'll have a look at that, John. Do you have to? No, I just particularly like to do that. You can start it from the search. You can go from search as well. You should be able to go from search as well. I'm saying this. And let's have a quick look, because I want to get on to just the general collection as we were going to do. Let's have a look at the condos. And I'm going to put them in. Right, 301. I have no idea. Let's see. I have none. So let's not try condos. And say I've selected a few of these. Now, private exclusives will not go into a public collection. It will not allow you. So if I do add collection and there isn't one there, I can just click create new collection and change it to public. And that's how you do it from there. It really doesn't matter. That's the thing with Compass. There's so many ways of doing everything, like how to create a client. You can do it from Business Tracker. You can do it from your CRM. You can do it practically anywhere. So there's many ways to skin a cat, and that has never been truer than when you're in the Compass platform. So yeah, you can either do it from the public collection and then go in there. And you're having trouble inviting a client to a private collection which I've created. Okay, I'm going to cover that, Ellen. Have your clients download the app first on the phone. Absolutely. If your clients are having trouble, definitely get them to download the app in advance. If you can get them to do that. If not, when they go to the collection, they'll be prompted to download it. But John's right. It's always great if they have added first. So I'm going to go back to my original search. Poor Brad Pitt is waiting for me to find this home from. So here I am. I'm looking for a home for Brad Pitt. Now, when I'm working in Compass, and I highly recommend all of you. I mean, those of you who've been with Compass a while are going to do this instinctively. Those who are new, pro tip, always have a few tabs open in Compass, because I'm going to have my contact open. I'm going to open up Brad Pitt, but I can't remember what he wanted, right? No idea. This is, if you're on my CRM training earlier, you're going to see. I told you all, you got to update your CRM, you got to update your tags, you got to update your notes. So I'm going into my notes and I'm going to have a look. Great, here it is, what he was looking for. Doesn't like emails after 6. Okay, that's good to know. He's looking for a home with a large garden within 10 minutes drive to a coffee shop. He wants 4 bedrooms minimum. Has in the past been disappointed with agents who don't go the extra mile and has often found properties online himself. I'm sure you all have heard that before. People are finding properties. Oh, what do I need a buyer's agent for? I can do that all myself. This is your value proposition. This is where it starts. This is how you really show your clients. And when you're talking on a buyer consultation, can let them know how much more value you bring than just a Zillow app. I ask our clients when they download the app on their phones how their screen is different from ours. So what I do is, like I said, create a dummy Gmail account or your own personal email, whichever you want. Create a collection, invite yourself to that collection. When you go to that collection, you're going to be asked to sign in. Sign in with your dummy account. If you know, and then you'll see what they have to do. I mean, ideally, you can delete the app off your phone and go back in.
Hey,
You don't
Tricia,
want to do that. Yeah.
only because I am new. I just want one thing in addition to that, because I did that and I talked to your tech, who is amazing, or Compass Tech. When you pretend that you're your dummy account, open it in a completely different browser.
Yeah, so here's,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the top of my page. If you go here, you can open up new incognito window. Just select that. And what it does, it's like, it's a new browser. Nobody has any idea who you are, what you're doing. Pro tip for looking for cheap flights as well, always use incognito window. So go in, open an incognito window, go into your Gmail under your dummy account and click on it there. Um, and that's how you really, yeah, exactly, set up the whole thing for them. And you'll
Tricia,
see the
can
whole
I
process.
add something? Because I've
Yeah,
gone through this last year where um, it depends also if they have an iPhone or an Android. They work differently. And so
100%.
I found where I was emailing them the link to do it, no one was doing it. The best way to do this is have the collections already set up. And when you meet with your people face to face to drop off something of value and you're talking to them, say, hey, open up your phone. I'm going to want you to download an app right now. Have them do it right there in front of you. You'd say, oh, I'm going to send you this later. They won't do it. Do it right then, have them download it. And then after they've downloaded, then you can send them the collection right then. That's how you do it. I've worked it.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. That's the best thing to do. And even if you're on your buyer consultation, get them to do it there. You know, you'll see it. Chirag likes to work the tech in there and then. You do it when you have the people's attention. It's great. It really is. So thanks for that. I love, and I also totally encourage collaboration like this during my calls. I love it. So in this case, I'm going to add a sold property because this person, you know, Brad, he really does know the market and he really wants to see what's out there right now. So I'm going to put in a sold property, but like only in the last month. I want it to be quite relevant. And so I've added one sold property. So I've all my criteria that he wants: a single family home, 350. You're going to have things like school districts. You're going to have keywords in here, different things in here. I'm just making this basic and keeping it going, you know, moving this along. So if I view the listings, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the collection. And in the save search, I'm going to create the collection for my clients. So my client's name is Brad Pitt. There we go. Brad Pitt. The collection name is going to be Brad Pitt's Home Hunt, under 350, just so as I don't forget.
350? Hell no.
That's all he
That's
that's all
nothing
he
for
has.
him.
He doesn't even have 350 right now. He's struggling, okay? We put him in 350. Sorry, was there a question there? How do you adjust the time if they don't want emails after 6? Well, you can do that. That's really easy to do when you're sending emails. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And let me get this done. So here we go. Brad Pitt's home hunt. I need to create a new folder for Brad. Yes, he's a buyer. He's searching. Save that. I didn't have it up there. That's great. The collection name's done. The tracker's done. And this is the most important thing. You're going to review the listings before you're sharing them with the client. So you always have to do that. Now, when you're reviewing them with the client, your notifications are automatically going to change. So you're not going to have that the search information automatically goes to the client. So you don't want that, but you want to see it automatically. But now if you don't, you can change it that you want it just updates every hour, whatever works for you, you decide. And then on this, yeah, we wanted in all collections on the collection. On this, I want to be updated immediately. And my client, this is a conversation you're going to have regarding their communications, how often they want updates. Do they want them daily? Do they want them, they don't want to wait weekly because they're going to miss it, or do they want them hourly? This is a conversation you can have with your client and see how often they want these and update them accordingly. Now, the listing updates means that if a property in the collection changed from active to pending, that's a listing update. Collection activity is if we put a comment in, a discussion, if I add more stuff in, they're going to get notified. So that's what collection activity is, a listing update is. You can change this to be only the ones that they favorite, but for now, I would leave it at all listings and see how the communication goes with them. If they find that overwhelming, you can change it to ones that they favorite and leave it at that. So I just got another question here. It should always be an option to review before sharing, Dahlia. I don't know why you're not seeing that as an option. It really should. You should always have that as an option to review before sharing with your client. The only time you're not going to, is it a saved search you're thinking of? That when you create a saved search, because that only goes to you, that doesn't go to the client. So no, you should definitely see that as an option. And if it isn't, I would raise it with support.
Trisha, can I ask you, hi, this is Miranda.
Hi.
Can I ask you if you can go back up to the top, so you have notification settings for search results, meaning new properties that match the search?
Yes, correct.
But then what is the one above it? It's review new, like, why is there notification?
Okay, so this is the alert. This is the option you have when you go in. You have two options. So when you create a collection, you can have the collection that anything that's that, watch this is changed. Anything that comes in and satisfies this collection, this search, sorry, will go automatically into my collection and straight to my client. You haven't curated it, you haven't looked at it, you haven't added any comments, you haven't added any value to that collection. They can get that on Zillow, they can get that on realtor.com. That's what this is. Automatically share new listings with your client. Now, some agents who have clients for a long time, they may just go for that. No, this is what they want. And that's fair enough. Everybody's to their own. But what we're looking at is best practice and how we at CSC recommend things are done. And it does.
I think that I was equating that with the never. Like, I was having always the notification settings on never, but your point is I can set that to review. And then under notification settings, anything I've reviewed and looked at, I can look at it at any point. It'll collect them all and maybe send it to the client daily. Like,
I'm going to show you that now. Well, that would be when they send them. So listing collection activity. So when you review it and share it with the client, they're going to get notifications based on what you set this last bit at.
The last
so
bit.
If you get that immediately, they're going to get immediately notified. If they want daily, they're going to get daily notifications. It's entirely up to how you set it up. Okay.
And so we'll set up listing updates to daily and collection updates to daily. Will they get one email with both, or are they going to get two separate emails?
I believe they would get two separate ones because you would get it each time a listing changes and each time a collection activity.
Yeah, but if I say daily, then it's not getting it
Oh, a
immediately.
daily, I believe they should, oh, if it's daily, they should get the one email for both.
Okay.
I hope. That in theory is what should happen.
Okay.
Trisha, one question about the collections.
Yeah.
If I create a collections, is that like a basket, like a shopping cart that I create notifications to myself, that I curate to the client, they receive the collections, but they can also create their own search independent of mine that I created for
Yes.
them, right?
So yeah,
And
they
then
can create their
and
own.
then they'll
search
dump it
bar.
and I'll ask them to dump it into that cart that Brad Pitt's under 350, right? They have to direct it into that cart or into that collection. They
It
can't
will be
create.
it'll be a different collection. They'll be getting 2 emails, Tom.
They'll get you emailed. Okay, so they theoretically can create their own search that they can set aside that they get notified daily or hourly or immediately, but they don't get mine. But it's just the collections, the joint one that we share together. That's one we'll be kind of having
They would
conversations and
create
comments on.
they can create their own searches, and this happens quite a lot. That you have a collection, right, with your client, and you removed it, you bought the house, you decide you're deleting the collection, and the client is ringing up saying, "Oh, I'm still getting, messages. I'm still getting, updates," and it's because they created their own search. They created their own search and for in their app under their own name, and they're still getting that activity. So that's when they would have to go in and delete their own stuff there. But this collection is for you and them to collaborate on together. Does that
Trish,
make sense?
I want to add another thing that we started doing last year was not just using this for our buyers, but for our past clients who are living in there, of getting like a market update, a collection of a market update, but just for their neighborhood of the active, pending, and solds. And sitting down with our past clients, setting them up on that so that they're getting an update, because we're not going to mail a comp card to them, because we're not farming the whole neighborhood. But it's another great way that they're using the app. We can see that they're going in there using it, and then maybe we'll see if they're searching for other areas or investment properties around the country. But we started doing that and implementing that. It's been a really good tool.
I love that idea, John. And you can just automatically send it to them then. You're not curating anything because they're not a buyer, they're past clients, just keeping them up to date. That's a great way of doing what's happening in their market. I love that idea.
We started having these conversations with them, and then we'd say, we will email you the invite, but no one was doing it. So we fine-tuned to say, while we're at there with them talking about it, download the app right then, have the collection already set up, and do it right then. Because if you don't do it right then, the likelihood of them following up later on turns down to like 0.
Yeah, absolutely.
I use them for sellers also, so they know what's going on, while their house is on the market. Every time something comes on or gets pending or whatever, and they see, if their house is still on the market, that something else in their neighborhood sold and theirs didn't sell.
That's perfect, Karen. I mean, again, as soon as that buyer closes on that house, turn that collection into a market update so they're getting it right then. So because
I have a lot of people who don't want to stop, they get
Yeah.
kind of addicted to it,
Yeah, and we cover collections as a CMA as well separately because we handle it like slightly differently. So we do cover that in a whole separate section as well if people want to join that as well. Now this yellow tab here will always appear until that client accepts the invitation. And after a while you'll be able to give them reminders or whatever. But if you're finding that they're not doing it, do what John said. When you meet them in person, sit down and do it with them. Let's go into your email. Let's accept that. Let's set up the app. There we go. Boom, we're in. Now we're running short of time, so I just want to cover a couple of things here. So everything in here is unshared. Okay, so your client won't see them until they appear in the shared items. Okay, so what you want to do is go into these properties, have a look where they are, have a look if they match the criteria, what additional private remarks would relate to your buyer. Have a look and see, is this going to be the yard that Brad Pitt wanted? Great yard, and you know the area, you're having a look here. Oh, right, let me have a look in. I don't know this market at all. I don't know if there's a coffee shop down there or where it is. You guys do. Coffee shop. If I could spell, 5-minute drive away. Okay, and I'm going to now not only share that comment, but I'm now going to share that listing. So that listing has gone in here in the shared. Brad will now see that and he'll see the comment on it. Okay, now he'll see all the comments. Now I don't have to add comments to each one to share. I can click them and just share a client. But I'm encouraging you all to add a comment before you share them because you're adding value. And that's the most important thing here. The other thing I want to loop in here is the discussions. Do you guys use the discussion up here? This is straight up a message from my collection to their collection. So say I've been out and I've been touring a couple of properties with Brad Pitt. And, you know, he said he wanted to be close to a coffee shop and with a big yard and all that. And then as the conversations, as we see how he's actually not that bothered about the coffee shop. So I'm going to put in a little comment here saying, great meeting today. Noted your comment regarding the coffee shop. Or the closeness to the coffee shop. Have taken that off as a criteria as it is not as important as the large garden or yard, whatever your language is. And I'm adding that there. And he can see that, and then he can reply to me and I can have a discussion there. But the real thing that we like about using this is to use it when they pivot. So I've gone on a couple of tours and Brad's saying, yeah, you're showing me great stuff, but where's my coffee shop? Then I can always turn around and say, oh, really? Hang on, let's have a look. Oh, yeah. Remember you said you weren't that into them anymore on January 17th? You weren't that bothered about them anymore. Just circling back, let me know. Are they important? We can add them back in. I can add them as a comment. That's a criteria. Now, not so much the coffee shop, but it could be a 3-bed, 4-bed. It could be something like that. The discussion is a great central place to home in on these changes to their collection, things that they ask, and then they forget that they ask. It's a great way to have it in a central location. You can always pivot back on it. I have 9 new messages here. I need to check.
I have a
Trish, I have a
question
question on this.
about discussions, because I've never used discussions. I write comments on each of the houses.
Yeah.
So when I write a comment, it goes to them and they see it. Does the discussion go to the client just like the other? So or do they have to do something proactively to go to the discussion to look for stuff?
No, that's in their notifications. So when you go back to your notifications, you see here collection activity. Anything I add in the discussion, they'll get notified on. They'll get an email to let them know that I've added something to the discussion. So that's all in here. Now, Brad Pitt isn't showing here right now because he hasn't accepted, but when he does, you'll see his managing the collaborator.
Collection
You'll see.
activity is literally about the collaboration with the client. It's not about like this went into contract or this sold or this. It's just us communicating.
Yeah, just communicate on the whole search process, not if it's on, like if you had a showing on one of these things that are shared and you want to add your comments, highly recommend you have a central point for putting your showings recap. There's a view this house. As you go through the showings, you can add their comments in here as you go along. And like, what did you like about it? We have in the buyer side of things, we have a whole list of certain questions to ask your client after they've seen a house, and you can add their answers to that as you go along in here. So you and they have a note of their comments in here. So it's a good refresher. But the discussion would be more about the overall collection itself and the whole process of the buying process for them. Now, I have to go back to the chat. Somebody asked there, said that they don't have, you never have the shared or unshared. Okay, the only reason you don't have these, the only time you won't see these is when you share automatically. You're not going to have the shared. Everything is just going to go automatically to them. You're not going to see anything unshared. So it's only when you review things before you share them with your client are you going to see these two tabs. So Delia, that's the only time you're going to see these two.
Okay, I'm still sorry. I'm still
Yeah.
totally confused about, so I've been doing this wrong like for a while. So you don't invite your clients after you create this collection. You only review each listing and then share them individually. And
No,
then
it's all
keep
in the
the
one collection. You're going to invite your client to it anyway.
Wait, say that again? I'm sorry.
It's all in the one collection. When your client goes in, they're only going to see what's in this shared. So it's not that you're not inviting them. You are inviting them in, but you're
But
just
you haven't clicked that little tab up there that says invite.
Oh, I have. This is telling me that I've invited them and they
Okay.
haven't accepted.
I
Well,
missed
hang on. Hang on, what
Wait,
happened to Brad Pitt? That now I definitely invited him at the beginning. Let me see.
see,
Why
now I'm
didn't Brad go
confused.
in?
This is where I'm glitched out.
Oh no, it's not you. I definitely added him at the beginning when we created the thing. Why didn't he get that? That's weird.
But he
Okay,
didn't get it.
so he didn't get it, right? So as you can see, it's only me, TB, Trisha Barlow.
So you're supposed to go and click this little invite button, correct? To invite your
Well, I
client?
did it when we were creating it. When I went back to the search, let me go back to the search. Let me see if it's going
I'm
to
so
happen
confused.
again. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm just going to do this very quickly. I'm not going to bother about what I'm actually searching on. I'm not, you know, I'm going to create a saved search collection for my client. I am pretty sure I put Brad Pitt's name in there. There you go. Select two folders. Yeah, I don't mind which one it is. Brad Pitt, collection, notifications. Okay, it didn't automatically go to, okay. Maybe they've changed it that you have to add it in after. Okay, that is, that's strange. Okay, so if they've changed it that you have to add them in after your collection, then you just go in and then click here to invite and then put in their name. And then this is the email. Trisha's invited you. You can change this to any way you want, any words you want. You can edit any of that and then click invite. It used to be when you created the saved search and you put in their name, they were invited. But obviously they've changed it. So Brad Pitt has not accepted the invite. It's there in yellow. When he does accept it, that'll be gone. After a little while, it'll ask me if I want to remind him. But when he goes in, he'll only ever see what's in the shared file. So I want to be, I want to add all my comments in here before I share them with them. I mean, that's what you're adding value, right? But just assume I've added comments onto all of these. And I'm just going to share with client. So when he goes in, he's going to see these three properties and he's going to go in and he's going to see a comment on each one as to why they're suitable for him and why that is more valuable than just going in.
Trisha, when you were looking at the tour notes that you put in the comments, you said something about putting it all in a central place. And I wondered, is there a central place or is there a place that, how do we designate, these are the ones we've visited? Because, if you can cumulatively look at those notes, it's pretty valuable to say like, this is, yeah.
Yeah, you can use the tour, like once they request a tour, if they use this to request a tour, and this is where you would talk through your agent and let them know what your client, and let them know what they can do. So when they are in this here shared, they should, instead of tour request and say request a tour, they can click it and then request a tour on those things. So you could see what they have requested tour on, and then you could check the comments on them. But there isn't really a central place other than to use the discussion is the only one central place for any conversation. So what you could do is recap of showings on January 17th. And then you could just put in the address, 123 Main Street.
There's no checkbox on the individual listing to say like, we visited this together, or some way to self-filter the things you've seen with the client.
Yeah, they'd be under tour requested if they've already requested the tour.
Actually, Miranda, I think once you build a tour and you send it out, it actually gives a gray box on the top that says visit tour completed. That's what my experience has been.
It says there's a box like in the line where it says pending
Like, so
client.
on the little thumbnail of the picture where it says like right here under 0 views, right under there, it says tour requested on this date. If you've actually like curated like a tour and sent out the tour sheet to them, based on like, completed, whatever. In my experience, it shows when I visited or when I toured it with
When
them.
you've been on them.
Yeah. Trish, I have one other question. If for instance, we have a client who's based on price point, like example, their budget is 800 for single families. And then because of HOA, it's like 650 for condos. Do I create one collection overall, or do I create two separate ones as best practices? Meaning that, do I just ultimately just filter it out altogether and just dump it into one collection?
You can have two searches on the one collection, right? So here's the,
Oh,
if
you can?
edit
Okay.
this, yeah. So if you edit this is your original search and you're going through it, blah, blah, blah. You can change your search. But if you want to, I'm just going to discard that. If you want to create another search, so I'm going to go to save search. And I'm going to look up, so say this is for active condos. I mean, you could go, if it's just as simple of condos and family homes, you can click both condos and townhouses here or whatever it is that way. But if you want, it's a very specific, if it's very specific second search and you can't add it in the one search criteria for one reason or another. Let me just give a maximum price of 400. Let's see, I've got 18. So if I save this search, I can then create a saved search for that. And I'm just going to call it second search for Brad. Okay. And what I can do here on this here, I can link to collection and I can do it here. So if I save this now, so that's the little gear box on the far right. And if I go into the collection, oh, here we go. It went in automatically for me. I do love things like that. Now, when you look at it, you've got two search criteria for Brad's search. So you have two searches feeding in. Now,
Oh, awesome. Okay.
problem is, it doesn't really tell you which is which. So you'll only know by going in to edit them to see which is which. But that's how you would add as many searches as you want onto the thing. But you see what's happened? It's automatically shared all of those condo ones with them because it wasn't created in the save search. So if you want to automatically create, so that's not quite as ideal as you would like. Do you see what I mean?
Just a suggestion, what I do is I create two different searches, because I might do one for one area. So I'm in Santa Barbara, so I might do one for Carpinteria, one for Santa Barbara, or one for Goleta, because they're not sure what area they want to live in. And I think when I put them all into one search, or the way you did it, they don't know how to figure out what area it's in. So just for me, for my purposes, I think it defines the area easier for them.
So you create different collections for them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say,
Yeah.
create
I mean,
a home search, Montecito home search, whatever.
I do that too. I create more than one collection, and it might be single family and it might be townhouse or condo, but
Yeah,
it might be different areas as well.
anything that can help them,
But you can do
differentiate.
all of that. Like, you don't have to just have one for single house and one for townhouse. You can have as many property types as you want and as many areas as you want.
I know,
Well,
but
I do the
it
same
all
area,
together.
different areas, but they get confused.
It clumps them all together in one collection. If you have townhouses and homes and,
Yeah.
I think when you separate it, it gets them to the point where, oh, can't afford a home, I need to go to a townhouse. So they might want to do, I don't know.
Okay.
I just try to think like the client thinks and
Whatever's easiest for them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It really depends on the client. 'Cause some clients might find that just too much, having two collections that they have to keep on track on. They might find that too much, but it really depends on your client and what way they work. So whoever pointed out that Brad Pitt wasn't being automatically added onto that, thank you so much. I didn't even cop that when I was creating it, because it used to be when you were creating it and you added the client that the email would go out to them, but obviously it doesn't do that anymore. So we have to invite them separately. So thank you for pointing that out. But we'll be doing this again, and we'll also be doing collections as a CMA. And I invite you all to join me for those as well. And thanks for joining me again today. Have a great day. I think I covered all the questions. If I haven't, send me a quick email in roadmap at Chirag Shah Coaching, or if you're an end-to-end, send it to E2E at Chirag Shah Coaching, and we'll get back to you. Take care and happy hunting. I hope you get those buyers in. Take care. Bye-bye.